let's go into our next topic. So, Michael Penix had a pretty cool interview with on CBS with two-time Super Bowl champion Bryant McFadden. For those of you guys that don't remember, he was the defensive back with the Steelers, got both of his titles with them in the early 2000s. And the part of the interview that I found most fascinating, Jeff, was when Penix was breaking down his fourth down play against the Commanders that basically tied up the game towards the end in the fourth quarter. So what I really appreciated most about him, Jeff, is he was kind of talking about like how he was reading the different defense. He talked about how he used his eyes to manipulate the defender, and basically his demeanor the whole time, his composure, even during the interview. Like, the guy just has it. Like, you don't see it a lot with rookie QBs. Like, he showed more composure in that interview and in that one game against Washington than Caleb Williams has ever shown in 17 games, than Bryce Young has shown in 2 years. Like, I have not seen another rookie QB other than Jaden Daniels show me what Penix showed in just 3 games. Biggest question mark to me is always going to be injury with him. But if, by God, this guy stays healthy, we have a really bright future in Atlanta. Jeff, did you watch that interview? Did you have any takeaways from that?
Yeah, one of my takeaways is that Bryant McFadden puts ketchup on everything, including his grits, which is absolutely disgusting. Like, talking about I'm from the South. Okay, well, people from the South don't put ketchup on grits or collard greens, so let's stop that nonsense right now. No, I thought the interview was great overall, right? And I thought it gave a really great inside look into Michael Penix. And I do agree, he's mature beyond his years. I think it goes to, I think it shows one, what kind of quarterback he has the potential to be, and that he understands things at a different level. He's able to process things at a different level than a lot of rookie quarterbacks, a lot of young quarterbacks. I think it gives us a glimpse into how special this kid actually can be, right? And so I think if you were watching that, and if you haven't, go back and watch it because it's fantastic. I mean, even the part where he's talking golf with Matt Ryan, the whole interview was just phenomenal. And so I loved every second of it. I thought it was great. I love the fact that a lot of it took place at a Waffle House, which is very Atlanta, right? Like, that's so just the whole thing. I thought he represented himself well. It just for me, I thought it was great. I think it was that interview, or was it a different one where he talked about how he was just trolling everybody now wearing the do-rag? Just the whole thing was just, it gave us a glimpse into a really quiet kid. Right, because he's a quiet kid. He's not a all about me type of guy. He's not very loud. He's not very demonstrative. He's not, he's not a look at me type of dude. And so I appreciated that interview. I appreciated the non-formality of it. I just don't know how your takeaway is anything but excited after watching Michael Penix do that interview.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the world gave us shit for that pick. But God forbid, Jeff, God forbid we did not make that pick last year. We might have been the ones to end Shedur's slide. Just saying. And it might have been as early as pick 15.
100%. Which is, and I am thankful that is not the case. And it's funny, you kind of go back and you look, people were upset with the pick, not because of where he was taken, or not because of who it was, but because of where he was taken, right? Because people forget that going into the draft last year, he was seen as a second, third round pick. And that, but again, it's just another example of, these high media guys that think they know everything. Teams don't always have a quarterback, or a player where, guys like Mel Kiper Jr., think they should. And he's a great example of that. And he's going to end up, you look at all the great quarterbacks that were taken last year, he could potentially end up being the best of all of them. And, he may not have had the immediate success as a rookie that a guy like Jaden Daniels has. But this is a slow paced race. This is a marathon. This is not hey, who can jump out the fastest? who can outlast and who can perform better over a longer period of time. And so for me, I am thankful that there's Michael Penix. I'm thankful that we weren't looking for a quarterback this year because, taking him last year at 8, I think really set the foundation for the future of this franchise and allowing them to make the moves they made this year as well. And so I think all in all, Terry Fontenot is not going to get the credit he deserves for the last 2 years. But that was his decision last year. It was not and that may have been the only decision in the draft that was his. But he knocked it out of the park with Penix at 8, and then this year he followed that up with a hell of an encore. So I think all in all, we are all blessed to have that dude here, and I think he's just different, and that's probably the best compliment you can give a quarterback is he's just different.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, Jeff, because on the board at the time were Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy, right? JJ McCarthy was a consensus first rounder. Everyone had him there. But Nix and Penix were kind of like, hey, maybe these guys are going to be the first ones off the board in day 2. But we take Penix at 8. Broncos take Nix, I believe, at 12 or 13. You don't hear the media bashing the Broncos for taking Nix, right? I know part of it's driven by Kirk Cousins. The other part is Sean Payton, working for Fox Sports, has a lot of connections in the media too, so they wouldn't dare bash Sean. But again, the Falcons are sort of the punching bag in the NFL. This Ulbrich thing comes out and everybody has a field day with this prank call situation. So anytime there's a glimmer, anytime we do something right, it's never publicized. Anytime we do something wrong, we are front page, front and center, the jokes of the freaking NFL. Watch what happens, Jeff. If we freaking get a first round pick or even a second round pick for Cousins and make the other team pay his salary, no one's going to say shit. It's going to be a second page line item in the in the NFL.
100%. And it's weird because what have the Falcons ever done to anybody? Right? Like, this is a franchise that has underachieved for 50 fucking years. And yet somehow, major market media or national media absolutely hates this franchise. And it is crazy. And this is not a poor me moment, right? Like, this is not a woe is me type of thing. But if you actually take a step back and you look at the way that the national media and the national pundits talk about Atlanta, it is absolutely, but it even transcends the Falcons. You look at the way they talk about the Braves, right? I mean, obviously this year, didn't start out all that great, being 0-7 and having to battle back. But even after winning the World Series, they were still picked to finish 3rd in their division. They brought everybody back, and yet 3rd behind the Phillies and the Mets. And so it's a really weird. And they always call Atlanta, Atlanta's a bad sports town. I disagree. Atlanta has some diehard fans. Falcons, Hawks, Braves, Atlanta United. The diehards in this town are fucking phenomenal. And I don't think it's a bad sports town. I think it has really bad coverage. And I think all in all, we have really bad media in this town, if we're being honest. And that bad media perception blends itself into the fan base, unfortunately. And, everybody always looks at how great New York is. Well, New York is known to be ruthless. Boston is known to be ruthless, right? Like, their media members up there just don't give a shit. And you look at national media, they're scared of those idiots up there. Nobody's scared of anybody here in Atlanta, right? Because they got, the morons like Mike Bell. They have guys here who think they know everything and probably aren't very good at what they do. Might be highly entertaining, but they're not informative. They're not, they're known more for bashing fans than they are for going after the guys on, that are in charge of franchises. And so I think that's where a lot of the bad sports town comes from, is because the Atlanta media here is absolutely fucking terrible. There are some exceptions, like the Myles Garrett, not Myles Garrett in Cleveland, but we do have a guy, Myles Garrett, here who seems to get all the death threats anytime that Myles Garrett does something stupid. He's fantastic at what he does. Andy and Randy on 92.9 The Game are phenomenal at what they do. So there's some really good media members here. But by and large, media here is absolutely atrocious. And I think the fan base pays the price for that. And, it sucks because, to your point, it's the Falcons stay in a catch-22. Like, they're always going to be the jokes, regardless of how well something works out. And people won't admit it with the way they trashed the Falcons last year, but it's fucking worked out. Going against the grain and taking Michael Penix last year, much to the chagrin of NBC, ESPN, Fox Sports, who absolutely had fucking field days last year. It's worked out. Sorry, assholes, it's worked out.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because one of the arguments last year when we took Penix is, oh, Atlanta didn't ask Cousins for permission. The guy didn't play a fucking game with us, and we handed him $100 million guaranteed. What fucking permission do we need to ask this guy? Is he Tom Brady? Is he Peyton Manning? The guy has had one career playoff win to his name, but we need his permission to draft a QB. And then the other situation is, oh, the Vikings were up front. They're a really great front. NFL teams are in the business of making their team really good, giving them a competitive advantage. Brett Favre didn't get a heads up. Aaron Rodgers didn't get a heads up. Why should Kirk Cousins have gotten a heads up for a team he never played for?
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady didn't get a heads up, and the Patriots drafted like 7 quarterbacks during his 20 years, right? Like, it just you don't need to ask permission from a guy you're paying, right? Like, he's not signing Terry Fontenot's paycheck. He's not signing Arthur Blank's paycheck. They're signing his. You don't need his fucking permission to make the team better, and to have a backup plan. And so, it's worked out. And the media will never recognize the fact that it did work out. The last laugh will be when Michael Penix holds up that MVP trophy after leading this team to the Super Bowl.
Oh, man. That would be freaking amazing. I mean, look, the thing about Falcons fans is, and, we talk about the media members, right? But, like, we also need to, like, really, like, kind of, like, lock arms right now, because the whole freaking media, the whole NFL is laughing at us. And this is the best. I think 2025, the definition of this year, if we have to title it, is the fuck you year. And by that, I mean, we're going to prove the NFL wrong. Our 2 rookies are going to go crazy. Penix is going to go crazy. And I want everyone's freaking foot in their mouth. All those media members, this is our freaking time. So we need everybody to sort of be, let's not bash each other on X, go after the stupid ass Saints fans, Panthers fans that think Bryce Young could be in the same sentence as Michael Penix. Are you fucking kidding me? He just played a freaking JV defense. That's why the Panthers beat us that last week of the season. When all the chips are on the table, week 2, whatever it is next season, when the game actually matters, watch what happens. And thank you, by the way. Thank you, Panthers, for winning that game. Because had we been pick 18, we don't land Jalen Walker. So I'm very happy we lost that game.
Oh, 100%. And if you don't lose that game, you probably don't make some tough choices as far as replacing your coordinators. So there's some things that happen as a result of that loss, right? And so I am absolutely thankful for that. And but yeah, Bryce Young, like, dude's not even tall enough to ride the ride. Like, you missed me with how he's the next great quarterback. And did he improve last year? Of course he did. He looked far better in week 18 than he did week 1 and 2. But yeah, like, he's got to go hang out at the kiddie pool, and so I ain't got time for that. I love the fact it sucks that Tampa's got Baker, because Baker's figured it out, right? And so Baker will keep Tampa relevant, and those will be some really good battles between he and Nine for the next few years, which will be fun to watch, and hopefully, like last year, we'll win the majority of them.